Thanks for joining me for Conversations to Enlighten and Heal. I'm your host, KG Stiles. On Conversations, I speak with some of our world's most renowned teachers and masters in the fields of healing, personal development, and spirituality. Today, I speak with screen legend Dee Wallace. Dee has just released her third book, Bright Light, Spiritual Lessons from a Life in Acting. On the show, Dee shares with us some of her life experiences that shaped her personal and professional life, such as the suicide of her father at age 10 and the sudden and tragic death of her beloved husband, Christopher Stone. Dee also talks about how she combined acting instruction and life lessons in her acting school, which over time evolved into her own style of healing that she uses to help her clients heal their life. Join me now for Bright Light with actress and spiritual teacher Dee Wallace. Welcome to Conversations to Enlighten and Heal. Today I'll be speaking with actress, spiritual teacher, and healer Dee Wallace about her new book, Bright Light. Conversations is sponsored by HealthMasterySystems.com, holistic products for body, mind, and soul, and PurePlantEssentials.com, organic aromatherapy. Please visit these websites today. My guest, Dee Wallace, an acting legend, has turned to spiritual healing. After more than 130 movies, 4 TV series, 400 commercials, and dozens of guest spots, Dee Wallace has now added the role of spiritual advisor as her life calling. In her new book, Bright Light, Dee Wallace, one of Hollywood's leading actresses and acting teachers for the past 3 decades, has much more on her mind than teaching acting. Instead, she uses her life experiences and spiritual skills learned through her acting craft to teach people how to illumine and activate their spiritually rich and creative essence for a far more satisfying life. Dee Wallace is a familiar face to television and film lovers. Wallace's films range from some of the scariest to some of the funniest, including Cujo, The Howling, 10, The Frighteners and Critters, and above all, the one that defined hope and dreams for a generation, E.T., The Extraterrestrial. Dee has worked with some of Hollywood's biggest names, including Steven Spielberg, Peter Jackson, and Blake Edwards. In Bright Light, Wallace traces her unorthodox path from actor to spiritual leader and healer, and inspires others to passionately follow their heart and creative wisdom to wherever the road takes them. Bright Light chronicles Wallace's rise to fame and the spiritual tools she learned through her life and career. For more information about Dee Wallace, her new book, Bright Light, her work as a spiritual advisor, and her upcoming events, please visit her website at IamDeeWallace.com. That's IamDeeWallace.com. Please welcome to the show my very special guest, Dee Wallace. Welcome to the show, Dee.
Wow, what a lovely introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor to have you with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you.
In Bright Light, you talk about some of your childhood experiences, including the suicide of your father. How did your father's suicide impact your life?
Oh, well, you know, your mother and your father are your first gods in your life. They're where you place all your trust and your safety. And so, you know, my father had been a severe alcoholic all his life before his final suicide. So I think, you know, the entire journey through my life with my father and his suicide was all, started a lot of messages of mistrust, especially toward men, and knowing that I could depend on them. And at the same time felt incredibly unconditionally loved by him. So that's kind of a confusing statement, you know, for a child. And we take our childhood statements and beliefs into our adult life. So here I'm trying to put down, boy, when I'm unconditionally loved, I can't really trust somebody to take care of me. And that's just an example of how I bring together, you know, our childhoods into the adult life and how they ultimately create us in Bright Light. That affected me not only in business, but in my personal life and relationships with men. So I think if we were to look and find the positive message in it, what I did learn from my father's suicide and alcoholism is that I'm very powerful and can take care of me no matter what. Mm-hmm. And that's a good message, too.
Mm-hmm. The ultimate message.
Yes, indeed.
You found work right away when you first arrived in Hollywood. Can you talk about some of the highlights of your acting career, Dee?
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's kind of a Cinderella story, really. I had never been out of Kansas in my life, come from a very poor family. And between the time I left Kansas and the time I started in E.T. was about 5 years, which is meteoric in my business. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, if I would list my favorite roles and some of those roles that started me out, it would definitely be Policewoman, which was my first guest star role. Lou Grant, where I played a big guest star role, and it was entitled The Hooker. Mm. And that led me, they saw me the night that it aired and called me into Blake Edwards the next day, and I auditioned for 10 and booked it before I got back to my car.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
Those are 3 early highlights. Obviously, E.T. would be in there. There's a little movie of the week called The Texas Cadet Murders, and I have a 5-minute scene where I have to receive the information of the death of my daughter and answer some of their questions. I think it's another example of my strongest work. And Cujo. Mm-hmm. Cujo's what I'm proudest of, by the way.
So what was it that started you on your present spiritual path?
Well, I hit the floor. I had gone too far too fast, and too many people were saying, wow, look at Dee Wallace. And, I tell some wonderful stories in Bright Light about things that happened to me in my childhood that literally said, don't you dare ever claim how good you are, Deanna. So when E.T. came out, and it was an instant success, and I was an instant success, all of those little messages, came back in, and Dee Wallace couldn't go too far too fast, and so she pulled her light back and stopped herself. And take me back to the question now, because I'm going to tie it in.
What happened? What stopped you? How did you stop yourself?
What stopped me was the fear that Deanna Bowers was saying, look at me, I'm good. Look at how great I am. And everybody else was saying how great I am. And I had way more than I just needed to get by. And I was always taught in Kansas, you don't need any more than what you just need. Mm-hmm. And so all of those messages that, were not truthful to me, but because I had been raised with them, they became my truth.
Yes.
They became my definition.
Yes.
And that's why I wrote Bright Light, because I want us all to realize whomever has hurt us, abandoned us, denied us, humiliated us, raped us, whatever has happened to us, they cannot take it back. They will not take it back. And they've moved on. Mm-hmm. And if we are going to be and experience ourselves again as this magnificent light that we all are, then we've got to choose to forgive and turn our light back up, to move into the power of who we are. That's what we all want. But it's up to us. We're the only ones that can do it.
The truth of our being. So our history doesn't define us. That's what you're saying.
Nothing outside of us defines us. Not our history, not our society, not our money, not our job. I mean, when E.T. came out, one of the biggest questions that everybody asked me when I was interviewed was, how's this changed your life, Dee? And, I used to answer to them, it hasn't changed me and it hasn't changed my life. It's certainly changed my business, which is a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't really changed who I am, and I don't ever want to change who I am,
Mm-hmm.
except that I want to accept and acknowledge the authenticity of who I am,
Yes.
so that I can be powerful.
Yes.
And that's, I think, what we're all wanting and asking ourselves to move into
Yes.
again.
Well, that's our divine birthright.
Absolutely, but most of us are taught that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You see, most of us are taught that spirituality and power, that love and power do not go together,
Mm-hmm.
that you have to give up love when you move into power. And what I want everyone to know is your love is your power.
Mm-hmm.
But for you not to take your love out into the world in a powerful way, you are diminishing the energy of the One.
Yes.
God, Atman, Buddha,
Yes.
universal love, whatever your term is on that. You are diminishing it if you do not take your love, which is who you are, out powerfully into the world.
Yes.
Powerfully.
Yes. Well, what were some of the experiences and challenges that began to point the way toward your own clarity and understanding?
I dropped to my knees one night. I had pretty much lost my career, lost my father. Then I lost my beloved husband of 18 years. He died of a heart attack before he turned 55. And I was done. I had been angry and had turned into a victim for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I dropped to my knees and said, I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be a victim. I want my light back. And I want a way we can heal ourselves. And a big zipper in the universe opened. I never understood before the power of the words, ask and you receive. But it's that, what we do is we energetically, we don't ask. We ask with our words, but energetically we haven't said, I'm doing this. I'm knowing this. I am making this change no matter what. And that's what happened when I dropped to my knees.
You're talking about congruence.
Well, speak more to that, will you?
Well, where you say, you it's more than just mouthing the words. It's energetically embodying.
Yes.
So you're congruent. So your words and your energy match.
Yes, you're okay. I call it being in harmony with what you want to create. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that's why affirmations and prayer work and meditation work for some people and they don't work for others. Because most people are going, okay, well, this is what the book told me to do, so that's what I'm going to do for 3 months.
Right.
Right, and they see no change in their life because they haven't truly committed to being in harmony and shifting energetically around what it is they're claiming.
Yes.
And without that, you don't have creation.
Yes. This is such an important point that many people just do not get. I don't understand why, but they just don't. They have a disconnect on how they have to become the embodiment.
Well, and truthfully, I think it's because ultimately there's a part of us that just doesn't want to take responsibility. Mm-hmm. We don't want to know, really, that we're the creation of it all, and we are.
Just like Marianne Williamson, she has that. We're afraid of how powerful we are.
Yes. And, look at the eons of religion we're fighting here. That and I want to be clear that God, for me, is not religion. Mm-hmm. God is unlimited truth. Religion is limited truth, for the most part.
It's like the package.
Well, and it's let me take the unlimited truth of God, which is unconditional love, and creation. And you too can do these things, and you too will even do greater things than I'm doing. We've all been given permission, but through the teachings of religion, man has watered that down to create his own power. And so...
Limited power.
And the people that are telling us we can't create our own lives are the people who have all the stuff, because they know they can. So that's
in a material sense.
Yes. I'm saying to everyone, create yourself first. If you create yourself first to be in harmony with unconditional love and joy and peace and knowing that you are the creation of freedom, you are it, and in harmony with it. If you are freedom and joy and bliss, then everything you create has to harmonize with that and be attracted to that. Everything.
Yes. So talk a bit more about some of these important things you've discovered on your spiritual journey, Dee.
Well, I think the most important thing is, as you believe, it's going to be delivered to you. And in all the, I do privates from all around the world now, private sessions and workshops and seminars, and there is no experience that I've had so far where there hasn't been a belief system behind the creation of what people are getting. So if you're saying, I want this, I know I want this, and you're not getting it, there is an energetic belief or a genetic belief behind it that is creating you creating not getting it. And, one of my favorite lines is, if we don't create ourselves, we become the created upon. You can sit in front of a television for an hour and be inundated with over 50 messages of what disease you're going to get at what age and what medication you better take and how that medication is going to hurt you. And so we're the most medicated country in the world and one of the unhealthiest. So that's got to tell you we're focusing on the wrong stuff. We're focusing on the fix instead of focusing on the creation of wellness. And we've been created upon, haven't we?
So you have to be the loudest and strongest signal that you transmit out into the world, otherwise you will be acted upon.
Yes, you have to know that you're the answer. You are absolutely the highest answer, because you are the one energy, and the one energy is you. And if you get out of your mind and drop down into your heart center and your knowingness, you will absolutely hear divine direction.
Knowing who you are and trusting yourself.
Yes, and trusting the energy of the world.
It's benevolent. Well, Albert Einstein said the greatest question is to ask is the universe friendly or hostile?
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing you say.
Because as your perception, that literally is the creation of your life. So seeing the glass half full or half empty is an overused adage in our world, but it's as simple as that. Literally, what they were saying in the workshop that I taught with Dolores Cannon last week was, it's not a science fiction movie, it's real. That the perceptions you hold literally create the virtual reality you are living in. So, what game do you want to design in this game of life? It's really up to you. But it's so simple that our minds cannot grasp that that's what creation is. So that's why I'm saying get out of your mind. You're not going to get there through figuring it out. You'll just get there by getting it.
That is such an important message to be delivering to the world, Dee. So everyone needs to wake up and stand in their power, to own their power. And I think things are orchestrated from a divine level, and it's our attunement with that, and we're all directed, and it's all guided through each of us.
Well, if we direct it to be. The book that changed my life was the I Am Discourses, the Saint Germain series, Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, it literally says, the energy, God, your I Am presence,
mm-hmm.
cannot create for you without your clear direction.
Yes. Yes.
And so,
yes.
you know, we've got the angels, we've got the guides, we've got the archangels, we've got God, we've got universal love, we've got the whole picture. We just forgot that we were part of it. So, you know, God helps him who helps himself. You've got to clearly direct the universe of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the rest of the energy that we've been working with for so many years and channeling for so many years can come in to give you everything around your direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing is...
It takes its cue from you.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing is make sure that you're not asking and focused for what you don't want, thinking that's directing what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest way I can explain that is I'll have somebody come up at a seminar and I'll go, what do you want? Well, I don't want to have to worry about money anymore. Good.
And
what
so
do
the
you
image
want?
is worrying about money.
Well, I don't want to be stressed out about money. Good. What do you want? Well, I want to go to my bank account and not see, you know, lack anymore. Good. What do you want? It takes me 10 minutes for them to just say, I want money. So I'm going to be the creation of money. I am going to know that I am the creation of money by my perceptions, my direction, and my focus. It's all about me. But you see, we're so taught to fix a problem so that we can create a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not create your life, guys. Fixing disease does not create health.
Mm-mm. No.
You know?
Focusing on disease only creates more disease. Focusing on the war against terror or the war against anything is just going to create... We haven't made any progress all these years.
Yes. And it keeps us in the drama of having to save ourselves.
Yes.
But we love that drama for some reason.
Yeah, the drama.
You know, it's like a great roller coaster ride.
Yep.
Except we're going off
the rush.
The track,
You can get addicted on the chemistry of, those roller coaster rides.
Do you know that they've proven that the highest endorphin level in your body is released just before you're successful? So endorphins, of course, give you that natural high.
Yeah.
I've
been having such a rush of endorphins lately. I must be about to have tremendous success because I have been just feeling like my fingers in a light socket.
Well, great. And, you know, what most people do is, I love the endorphins. I'm never going to get there because if I get there, the endorphins fall off. So I'll just create almost getting there all the time. And that's not where we want to be. But it's that rush, it's that fix that we're addicted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to face that addictive part. All of us have the addict. We all have to work with the things we're addicted to, you know.
Yeah, and most
that
of
drain
that
our life energy.
We're addicted to trying to figure out how to create what we want. So if our energy follows...
That's such a funny statement.
Well, but it's true. You know, that's why addicts become addicted to anything, because they're not facing what they have to face to create who they are. So, you know, if we could just be the power of the love for ourselves, say clearly what we want, stay focused on it, and be in harmony with it, creation would happen. Mm-hmm. Then you just go to the beach and allow the universe to release its magic.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's too simple.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's so simple we can't go, that can't be it. But it's also so simple that we can't stay in the drama. And we get to, stay on the hamster wheel of, I have a problem, I solve the problem. Oh, good, there's another problem. I solved the problem. Oh, good, there's another problem. It makes us feel, you see, it makes us experience that we're creating.
Yes.
Because we get to solve the problem.
Yes. Yes. That's a very good insight to be delivering.
Working for us, huh?
I think that's a great insight. I think that's a wonderful insight. So talk about your relationship with your husband, Christopher Stone. How did his death affect you?
Oh, well, losing Christopher was one of the biggest devastations of my life. He was my best
Maybe that
friend.
helped open up your sensitivity so you could still communicate and connect with him.
I'm sorry? What?
Maybe that helped to open up. I know you're very much a sensitive and psychic. I told you I'd heard you on the Healing with the Masters doing a session, kind of reading someone, and you really had tremendous insights, very quick. And I just wondered if that helped the development of your psychic sensitivities, because now, do you feel you're still connected with him energetically?
Oh, yeah, I'm connected with everybody on the other side. I do too many sessions daily where they just show up with their little senses of humor and give information. I don't call myself a medium, but they come in an awfully lot. I mean, the only thing that appears in our world to separate us is the body. Everything's just energy. Mm-hmm. So I do sessions with people from Tokyo and Australia as successfully as I do sessions with people here in my home, because you just reach out and extrapolate the energy.
Yeah.
You know that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but Christopher's death, I think that's what made me give up. And when I gave up, I was in such fear that I had no control. Control's up big for us right now because you can see us losing control everywhere in the old sense of the definitions. Money everywhere in our world. And I gave up the control, fell to my knees, and literally asked for what I wanted. Most of us, for some bizarre reason, have to be pushed that far, have to get down that far, have to create disease or lack or tragedy or something in order to just give up and go, universe, this is what I want, help me. But again, you cannot lose yourself out of that equation. We're great at going, universe, help me. But we forget that we are the hologram of the universe. So we must also direct, come forward, take action, release, allow, and not go, okay, well, God must not want me to have it because it didn't show up. And that's just not a truthful statement. If we think of God as unconditional loving energy that will give us whatever we want according to our direction and choice, then we understand the more unlimited thought of what God is. We've limited God a lot because
we've made God like us.
Well, yeah. Yes,
we've projected what we think God is,
And he's also a great scapegoat, Well, if God wants me to have it, and God didn't want me to have it, so it's not here, and we're using him as a big excuse, guys.
Yes.
Not to create us.
Yes, excuses. Exactly.
And
it's getting honest with yourself, being in the truth, and taking responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if God is that unlimited loving energy, and it says, look, you want war? I'll give you the experience of war. I have no judgment about it. You want disease? By holding unforgiveness and stress in your life? I will give it to you lovingly, with no judgment around it whatsoever. You want money? You want a lot of money? I will give you a lot of money. No judgment, no expectations. I will give it to you with love. We literally are here to pick what we want to make out of our Play-Doh, guys. And if we don't like what our Play-Doh's looking like now, all we have to do is scrunch it up and make something else.
So when Christopher died, that was like a dark night of the soul. It was sort of a period of time you went through where you had a rectification sort of within yourself, and you had to make it right. So you had to come into right relationship or something. That's
with
what
myself.
It sounds like. Yeah.
With myself. It's all about the relationship with yourself as the God you are. And the power that you are. And if people out there are going, oh, well, that sounds egotistical, I want you to realize that you have connected power with ego. And that's not the power I'm talking about. I'm talking about the power of Mother Teresa to stop a war. The power of Gandhi to turn an entire country around. And the message is, put down your struggle. Put down the sword. Your love is your power. They knew that.
And they were very clear. I mean, you also talk a lot about getting clear, right?
Yes, actually, the webinar that I'm teaching tonight is I Am Clarity. And because if we're not clear about what we want to create, we can't create it. If we're not clear that we're the creators of it, we can't create it. And if we're not clear that all energy comes forward to help and support us in creating it, it won't be created. So we have to be clear about all those things. And what happens is we get into the pattern of, okay, I know. And then I doubt. And then I question. And then I don't know. So, but we're taught that, we'll question it, question everything. If you're really going to know something, you have to question it. And it's really backwards. Don't question it. Go drop into your heart, into your divine knowing, and that's where you know. Stay there.
Yes.
If you're going to use your mind, you direct your mind to go, follow that. This is the truth. Create for me everything around that truth that I know.
So your acting school was an interesting mix of acting instruction and life lessons. How did your students respond to your particular way of teaching?
Well, this healing work was actually created in my acting studio. I oftentimes think that the universe just created my own little test group for me. And, well, it did. I had 80 students on an ongoing basis for years that trusted me enough and knew the importance of this work so much that they were just hungry for it. And interestingly enough, acting, and that's what I talk about also in Bright Light, is I realized how much my acting technique was a direct metaphor for the creation technique itself. And I often get emails and a lot of stuff up on Amazon, the testimonials, going, oh my God, I picked up this book thinking, well, I'll read about Dee's journey as a movie star, and you do. I give a lot of great stories about that, but your story was my story, Dee. I remembered when I gave myself up. I remembered when I turned my light down. I remember when I lost my power. And I'm gonna get it back now. And that's why I wrote the book. It's every man's story, Bright Light.
That's beautiful. How did you go from being a film and TV star to becoming a spiritual teacher and healer, Dee?
Well, again, it started in my acting studio. And so I would do it with my students around blocks around, emotional, being able to access their emotions, or blocks about getting an agent, or, blocks about doing something sexual in a scene. And that started expanding out into life lessons. And then they would go, I've got a sister, I've got a mom, could you do some work for her, Dee? And then they would bring in friends. When you find something that gives you the truth, and it's the truth, and you can see the shift in the empowerment in your life, you want to share it. And so it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And people go, well, what's your work based on? And it's not based on anything except the truthfulness that comes through me. It's not Reiki. It's not. I can't say it's based on any other teaching. It's literally based on the principle of directing your own life energy and taking responsibility for that. And any block that's in the way of you doing that is a block in the way of your creation of you. So it just keeps expanding. And the truthfulness of it just keeps expanding. And that's the beauty of it. I never teach the same thing twice because every time I teach something, that shifts it. Energy gets balanced, and then a more expansive, unlimited thought about that same thing comes in. So, for example, I'm doing a 2-hour live webinar tonight, and literally, I was given the information this morning at 6 a.m. So I was getting up to do a 45-minute speech for Dolores Cannon last Wednesday, and I said that morning, all right, well, what am I supposed to talk about? And the channel said, nope, not giving you anything. 4 o'clock, nope, not giving you anything. I was walking out at 5:30, and they said, one line. We're giving you one line, and that's what the whole thing's about. And it was, I accept that I am the creation of all creation. So I get up and tell people what I do and tell them I was given this one line and I have no idea about what it's about or where we're going with it. And then at the end, I always do some private work for people. This young kid comes up, and he's going, I just can't. I can't make myself do this. I just don't have any energy. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to go out. And I started the work, and I said, okay, we're going to the sheet. And what did I go to? I accept that I am the creation of all creation, because he couldn't move in his life until he accepted that. And once he accepted that, he could do anything. And that is how they wrapped up the 45 minutes. I mean, I've just learned to set an intention, and my intention is always to serve in the highest way in divine love with the most unlimited truth. And then I get out of the way, and I ask for the information. And creating your life really can be that simple.
Yeah, it's this willingness to show up for it.
Yes. And willingness
and be that
to
vessel,
take
and be empty yourself out and be that vessel. That takes a lot of trust.
A lot of trust. And that's why trust, clarity, and knowing all go together. Because if you don't trust, you can't know. If you don't know, you can't trust, and you can't be clear. And if you can't be clear that you're the creation or what you want to create, then you can't know. So they all dovetail together. So the highest claim, of course, is I am the knowing, the trust, and the clarity around everything I want to create. And the first thing you want to create, again, is you. We all go into this creation stuff because we want to get the stuff, and that's not what it's about. The stuff comes after you create you, but it's not about the stuff. It's about the creation of the experience of you in this world.
I just have to breathe out. You know, I there was a bunch I could have said after you said that, but I wanted to just kind of seep into people's hearts, you know, what it is you bring to us. So what inspired you to write your new book, Bright Light, Spiritual Lessons from a Life in Acting?
Oh, you know, 'cause I got happy again. I became me again, and I was joyful and filled with delight and love, and I just so want people to know they can have that. They can have it right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that hopefully through my journey, they can experience through me and therefore through themselves that it's not too late, that it's up to them, that even if you have 5 days to live, that the shift into the knowingness of all of this will change the rest of the 5 days of your life. Mm-hmm. You know, to be filled up with this incredible love and joy that I live in pretty much 24/7 is an experience that you don't want to withhold from anybody.
Mm-hmm. Or withhold from yourself, I mean, because you're the only person that's really withholding it from yourself.
Absolutely, but that's why I wrote the book, is I just wanted to share that everybody can live in this amazing love that I found. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a wonderful gift. That's such a wonderful spiritual message, and I really feel the Archangel Gabriel with you.
Yeah,
I work with Gabriel, you know, myself, and I just see Gabriel all around you, just very, very happy, very radiant, you know. So that's really, yeah, that's really beautiful to see Gabriel there lighting over you and all.
You know, my daughter's name is Gabrielle, named after Gabriel, because she was my miracle baby. Six specialists told me I would never have a child. But you see, I didn't accept their definition.
Well, you knew in your heart what was going to happen.
Yes, I did.
And you knew they weren't the gods of the universe. Right?
Exactly. So I defined myself, I directed myself, and I said, come on in, Gabriel and everybody else. We're going to create this kid. It took me 6 years, but she's beautiful, and she's 22, and she's my best friend.
Well, Gabriel really adores you and adores your daughter, and I just feel, you know, so much love from Gabriel for you. It's just beautiful. So where can we see you next on the silver screen, and how can we connect with you for spiritual advice, Dee?
Well, I have 2 movies. Well, I actually have 5 movies coming out, but 2 eminently. One of them is called Exit Humanity, and one of them is called The Margarine Wars, which is a fun little comedy with Doris Roberts. And in negotiations for another movie that hopefully is going to shoot in Rome in the fall. And everybody can find everything out about my healing work and my schedule and where I'm going to be. The next upcoming appearance is in September in Santa Fe with Jeffrey Hoppe, who channels Saint Germain and Tobias, and so I'm really excited about that. But you can find everything about me on iamdeewallace.com.
Okay.
And both my radio shows are there. They're both free call-in shows. Anybody that feels like they have a block around creating their life, come on and join us. It's an amazing community of people dedicated to the empowerment of themselves. And lots of free stuff, lots of downloads, lots of free stuff you can listen to if you want to get more information on the kind of work we do.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I want to tell everyone, please do visit Dee Wallace to find out more about her new book, Bright Light, and her work as a spiritual advisor and her upcoming events at her website, imdwallace.com. That's imdwallace.com. Do you have anything else you'd like to say? Any spiritual messages, or do you have messages for our audience before we leave?
Love yourself. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself more. Get up in the morning and say, my highest intention is to love myself and take that love out into the world powerfully.
Well, thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, everyone. A warm mahalo. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again, Dee. It's been such a pleasure having you with us.
It's a wonderful, wonderful hour. Thank you so much.